Are you ready? You put in the time, you got the gear. In fact, everything you carry is designed for a specific purpose to give you maximum advantage. Except your glasses. Introducing purpose-built optics, scientifically formulated and optimized for your specific pursuit. At Hook 'em Bullet, we believe sight casting for redfish is different from pitching a bait to a billfish, flipping to a bass on a bed, or live scoping for crappie. Each environment has unique visual cues and demands. You spend a lot of time and treasure feeding an undeniable passion. Don't take a Snoopy pole to a marlin fight. Make the most of every opportunity.
It's the moment when everything is on the line and precision, power, and control make all the difference. A moment over 20 years in the making, anchored on loyalty, trust, and support that goes beyond all expectations. A relentless pursuit of perfection. All born from a revolutionary idea to help you rule the water. Power.
Your early morning mentality is your every hour mentality. All gas, no brakes. Focus, purpose, power. Destined for the water, but confident everywhere else. A calming buzz before the storm, the truth of nature itself. You can't catch lightning in a bottle. There's a limit out there, but it's not with your gear. Unrelenting power delivery. Unparalleled weight savings. Keeping you on the water, whether you run a 9-9 or out scoping your best 5. In this rare air, there's power in the silence. It's a mindset, thinking only of the things that matter and freeing your mind from the things that you trust.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Twisted Cat Outdoors podcast, where we give you information on tournaments, events, everything in the catfishing world, bringing you value, tips and tricks, things that you can do out there on the water. Let's get this show started.
I look at this for the Twisted Cat Outdoors 3-fish record.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show, 7 o'clock Monday night. Sorry, Doug, don't be going to sleep too early. It's only 7 o'clock. What's up, Palmetto Cats? Everybody else that's on, hopefully everybody can hear me good. We got a big show on tonight. Again, we've kind of been back on that Monday night podcast since I've been traveling so much. Got to go, if you've seen, I did a personal post yesterday, got to go out with Dylan Lawson and Nate Moore up in Pool 19 yesterday and chase some channel cats. Real windy, rough water. We tried everything from dragon, shallow water, deep water, sand, mud, and ended up finding, well, we caught fish everywhere, but end of the day, we caught some big channel cat, 2 in the probably 13s and then several over 10 in like 12 to 16 foot of water on wood right off the bank. So had a blast fishing with those 2. It was fun to get out and plan on doing a lot of fishing the next few weeks, traveling down to Lower Mississippi, Louisiana, and hopefully Ouachita to go revisit that and see if there's any big blue cats there. So yeah, pretty excited about that. But and we'll go over tonight also. If you've seen, we posted a bunch of events last Tuesday evening. So the events are up on the event page. They're not on the website yet, but they're on the event page on Facebook. We'll show you that, how to look through that. And then tomorrow and the next couple of days, we'll have some more and hopefully getting things wrapped up. So you have the 2025 Twisted Cat Outdoors schedule. But without further ado, let's welcome the 2024 Twisted Cat Outdoors National Champions, Michael and Brennen Yuvan from Ladd, Illinois. How we doing, guys?
How's it going?
Good.
It's a wonderful Monday evening here on the podcast, and we're excited to have you guys on. And like we talked about backstage, it's awesome when you see some people, like we talked about your finishes, and we'll go over that later. And then you making it to the championship, deciding, do I go, do we not go, and then coming and how you guys found the fish. And like I said, it was so far from what you're used to. So pretty cool. But before, let's kind of start about a little bit about you guys, your background, where you're from, which I always say, if you're north of where I live in Illinois, you're from Northern Illinois. I don't consider myself
No, that's
Illinois. But you guys are up there, actually. So you're up where I think you said I-80 and 39, which is close to La Salle, Peru, right on the Illinois River. So Illinois River, I assume, is kind of your kind of home turf.
Yep.
Kind of cut your teeth on that. So give us a little info on background on you guys, and then we'll kind of go from there. Whichever you want to start.
Catfishing. We've been catfishing a long time. There's pictures of us in diapers holding catfish. Our dad's been fishing tournaments, for as long as we can remember. And I think the first time we placed was 2012. I might have been a sophomore in high school. Placed in a local tournament in Spring Valley, but ever since then, we've been hooked on tournaments. So we fish almost any tournament we can and have fun doing it. Spend a lot of time on the water. We love chasing flatheads. We're flathead fishermen. Really not a ton of flathead around us, but if you can find them, you can usually find some pretty good ones. But love fishing. Love fishing for catfish. Fish for everything, but catfish is number one.
Right. Yep.
So you guys have been doing it for a long time, obviously.
Yep.
What's unique that I've seen this year, and I don't know if it's something you guys normally do, but you guys fished against your dad in a couple tournaments.
Yeah, we did split up. We did kind of decide it was time to kind of, split off to where we can do our own thing in the small boat and he can do his thing in his bigger boat.
We like fishing just a little bit different, so.
Yeah, we have our own opinions about how to fish and where to fish, so,
Now, where did your dad finish in Pekin? Oh, he only caught one fish, but was it big fish?
Third.
I think he got third.
Or he got third.
Yeah, he got third. He had a 16 or 17 pound channel.
Yeah, he had a giant, and you guys got fifth, right?
Yep.
Believe so.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what do you think of that Pekin area that time of year? I mean, the flatheads can be on. Obviously, it didn't seem like we weighed many flatheads compared to the year before.
It's been a weird couple years on the Illinois River. It's really been pretty slow. 5-6 years ago, it wouldn't be uncommon to see 47, 50 pounds for 5-6 channels. I think the consistent low waters really hurt it. But the flathead are there if you can run into them. But they're just a little bit harder to target, it seems like, the last couple of years. But I think Pekin is probably one of my favorite stretches. Above the dam in Pekin there. It's one of my favorite stretches on this river, on the Illinois River.
Yeah, no, it was actually 2 years ago, it was really, really low.
Mm-hmm.
And then this year it flooded and the water was it was going down fast. But yeah, last year Nate Blint caught a ton of flatheads. I think he had big flathead and maybe all flatheads in his boat. I think he was dragging baits too. And then this year, obviously, I can't remember, but I don't think we weighed many flatheads, if any.
We had 2 flatheads.
But they're
small.
Yeah, there was like a 10 and a 13 pounder, I think.
Well, that's still good though when you're going against the channel cat. You know what I mean?
Right. They're still quality fish for that area. But the weigh-ins in that area have just been the past couple of years. They've, like he said, they've been low.
They've been down.
Yeah, they've been way down. Like you look at other tournament series 5 years ago, weighing huge weights in Pekin and Peoria compared to recently.
Yeah.
So
I think
you
fished a few twisted cat over the last couple of years. This year, you guys kind of fished some more. So what you kind of just starting to expand and go into Alton for the first time? Like, what made you go to Alton?
Well, I guess I'm laid off in that time, and I'm really bored. And we've always wanted to experiment and travel a little bit, and I guess one thing kind of just led to another.
Yeah.
And in that tournament, we weighed 105-pound blue cat, which is probably pretty crazy to see.
Yeah, that was absolutely crazy. Like that was my first time ever fishing big water like that. Fishing, Missouri River and the conflux and all that.
And you guys ended up with 31st. Do you remember what weight you had or what you caught?
Well, we had right around 30 pounds, I think. I caught a 20-pound blue, and we had a couple small ones to go with it, but it was interesting. Caught a few decent fish pre-fishing, and it was a cool experience, that's for sure. I'd have never thought it was such a decent bite that early. Illinois River's kind of shut down for catfish at that time.
Yeah, no, usually that time is really phenomenal. And, I think we had 84, 87 boats. So 31st doesn't sound like a great finish, but it's still a good finish. You know what I mean? Weighing fish. As I always tell Cold Delp that always weigh your fish. And,
always.
You might have, like I said, even in Burlington, where I think we weighed 48 out of 50 teams, you got to have some good weight to get in that in the top, especially when the bite's good, like it was in Burlington. And going over your finishes, that's another thing we were talking about is, to qualify for the Twisted Cat Championship, we take the top 50 anglers' best 4 finishes. So their top 4, you can fish 4, 6, 10, 12, but we're only going to take your best 4. And you guys had a 31st place in Alton, a 10th place finish in Muscatine, a 5th place finish in Pekin, and a 17th place in Burlington. That's a heck of a finish, 17th. Yeah. Because that was some crazy, crazy weight. So, and with that, and that's not bad, a 5th, 17th, 10th, and 31st. Mm-hmm. And that still puts you guys in 40th and 41st place in the points, but it qualified you guys.
Right.
And then you came down, and like I said, let's kind of go over that a little bit. So I guess you qualified. I called you guys. You were kind of on the fence, and then you're like, we're going to go. And then kind of talk about that week. Did you do any pre-fishing on your phones, on the computer? Like, what was your research before you go? Because the furthest you've been is Alton, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That's a long ways from Alton.
Very long. Very long. Another 5 hours.
I mean, even though we were on the fence about going, my weather channel was set to Arkansas for at least a month and a half before, and I was looking up all sorts of maps, depth maps, and I was looking at Google Earth and Google Maps almost every night, seeing what I thought I liked and what I didn't, and definitely spent a lot of time looking online before we went.
Right. Yeah, we were very worried about the weather too coming in, because it was projected to rain that Saturday. And it didn't, but I was kind of on the fence of not going because I didn't know if I could get work off because other people were already off work. But I was able to convince my manager to let me have it off, luckily.
Yeah, no, they put him in the news bulletin at work after winning.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, nice.
Yep. So I think we kind of decided probably a week and a half beforehand, probably the day you called, that we were going to for sure make a full push to go. Get a better truck to go, because there's no way our trucks can make it all the way down to Arkansas.
How many hours is that for you guys?
It ended up being with stopping 9.5 to 10.
Yeah,
with stops.
And I don't know if you heard me during the championship, during the weigh-in, I was asking a lot of the teams, how far of a drive, and there was a lot of 9-hour, 11-hour, 10-hour, 8-hour.
A lot of Midwest teams
all over, you know what I mean? And there's really nobody local, which is pretty interesting. And a lot of people that hadn't fished that stretch, and that was what's cool. And
Yep.
So you guys, you're looking at the weather. The weather looked terrible, really, because it looked like, you can't pre-fish on Friday. You can't have baits in the water, but you can go scan. But Thursday weather was horrible. You didn't know what Saturday was going to be. You kind of had some things changing. Were you guys thinking, did you kind of play that the water's really low?
Mm-hmm.
The rain, is it going to make some creeks run water? Is it going to change how the fish are? I mean, because you said that you started off deep, right? Tournament day?
We started off real deep on some structure, just as a general rule of thumb, but we were in an area where we kind of knew we were going to want to move shallow at some point and at least give it a shot. But the idea behind that was just kind of putting some slime in the boat, just catching a couple fish.
So how was pre-fishing, and what day did you get down there?
So we got down there Wednesday night / Thursday morning. We got there Wednesday night at midnight, essentially. We couldn't get checked into our hotel room because their system was down, so we slept in our truck overnight in the casino parking lot. We couldn't check into the casino because they didn't have anybody there between like midnight and 6 a.m. So we didn't pre-fish. We only could pre-fish Thursday, and we only had like 4 or 5 hours to pre-fish because before it started downpouring and raining.
Did a lot of fishing in 4 or 5 hours. We eliminated a lot of water. Didn't catch any fish pre-fishing, but we did get a lot of bites. We were running hooks pre-fishing, but kind of had a couple.
But it looks a lot different than what you're used to. I mean, you're seeing water that's a lot deeper than what you're seeing up on the Illinois River.
Oh yeah,
I was expecting the deep water. I wasn't expecting such low water with still so much current. I was expecting a lot less current, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the ramp? That's a long ramp, isn't it?
That's very long. Yeah, it was.
I was wondering what fishing was like with the water 20 feet higher, to be honest, after seeing that ramp.
Yeah, 2 years ago in May, we had a tournament out of Helena, and the water was almost to the top of that ramp.
Oh, wow.
Completely different.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I've never seen a ramp that long before.
No.
So what about bait when you get down there and you're pre-fishing? What kind of bait do you have?
So
did you get any other bait?
So we were able to cast net some shad that day. We primarily used that. We tried for skipjack, couldn't get any skipjack to bite on Thursday. So we were
do you use skipjack very often, or is that something that you haven't really messed with much?
If you know where they're at, you can catch them on the Illinois River pretty consistently.
Yeah.
You can get shad, skipjack, mooneye, and goldeye on the Illinois River.
Yeah.
But it's not all that common. You can get them all at the same time.
Right. Time of day, especially. Yeah.
All right. So Thursday, you get out there a little bit, do some pre-fishing.
Yep.
Eliminate some water, and then you kind of have a game plan. What do you do on Friday?
Well, we wanted to look at a lot of the river. We wanted to since we didn't really have a good day Thursday, we just wanted to look at the river and be out there on the water. So we brought our bait rods, we brought cast nets, and we threw around for skipjack, and we threw the cast net about 10,000 times.
Yeah, we cast netted a lot.
And
my damn shoulder was killing me.
Yeah. Ended up making we put the boat back on the trailer, made a run to that pumping station, tried getting some bait there. Couldn't really get much there, and said, screw it, let's go back to the boat launch and try one last time. And that's where Coy ended up giving us that skipjack.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah, it was like an hour before the captain's meeting.
And that kind of goes back to show you what we always talk about, these tournaments is, I mean, you're down in Helena, Arkansas for the championship where there's a ton of money on the line, but there's still the anglers that fish this series are willing to give you guys bait. And that bait could have well beat them, cost them a lot of money, with you guys winning the tournament. But that's what anglers do in this series, and that's what's so cool and helps new people get involved. And that's, why we love it. So that's awesome that they did that. And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So then you come to the captain's meeting, hang out. What did you think of that? Something different? It's kind of an invite-only thing. Did you know a few people there? I mean, I know like Mike and probably Kevin Hoffman.
No, Mike, Kevin, Mike Bodoyle, Tyler Sapp. Probably someone I'm forgetting.
Some of them northern guys, but a lot
Yeah.
of guys you've never seen before.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys we've never seen before. It was a really cool experience just to be able to sit there and eat and kind of listen to everybody talk.
Right.
People messing with each other, people talking about fishing, and
Oh, yeah.
no one really talking about what we're going to do the next day, that's for sure.
We always call that dock talk. You never want to believe a word is said at the night before. You know what I mean?
Right.
You never want to hear about, somebody says, "Oh, we were catching them on the sand flats," and yeah, but that's a part of it, that you can still hang out and have fun.
Right.
And that's what's really cool. So then you go get a good night's sleep, come put your boat in, and then kind of go over how the morning went for you guys.
Well, I mean, we weren't feeling great. We weren't feeling great at all. We knew we had an area where we wanted to start, so we headed there, and we seen a couple teams that we respect, a couple great teams starting in the area. So right away we started feeling better about it.
Yep.
Fished that area about a half hour, had a couple pecks, seen a couple gar flipping, so got upset, left there.
So you're anchored at this time?
We were anchored. Yeah, our trolling motor broke about a week before, and I didn't want to replace it, so we decided we were fishing on the rope.
Yeah. We brought a backup manual trolling motor, handheld trolling motor, in case if the big motor went down. But we anchor fished the whole day, no trolling motor, no spot lock, just front anchor and a back anchor.
So we leave that 50 foot of water, and we're still not feeling great, but we're feeling better. We're thinking we're in a decent area. We're like, if these guys are in this area, there's probably fish in this area, and probably some good fish. And I mean, we were by a tributary, right? And I've seen patterns before where when the water temp really starts changing, some fish are moving really quick up and down these tributaries trying to feed. And we went up in it a little bit, and I think we got lucky on a few bites.
But so back to the water temp. I remember asking anglers, it seemed like it was all over. So
was it 66 to 68, I think?
That's what I remember.
I
think.
it
was high 60s. Yeah. And we were expecting colder.
It's probably been dropping a lot over the last week, I would say, because it was a lot. It was cool. There was some good rain that came in. Could you tell there was a decent amount of current coming out of the tributaries?
Yeah.
There was a fair amount.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The main thing, though, was the water clarity. It was mud all around, but the actual clarity of the tributary of the water was very, very good. There wasn't much mud or sediment getting put back into the water.
And now there wasn't cast nettable bait in that area, but there were shiners, minnows, whatnot flipping. Mm-hmm. There was bait in the area.
So when you go up in there, what are you looking at now? You got your sonar? Are you on side scan? Are you looking for a certain bank or tree or seam, or what are you looking for?
As far as channels and blues going, I'm just looking for bends, current seams, and really depressions in the bottom and flatheads at structure, as well as the current seams, really.
So we, the day before, marked a nice hole on a bend with some structure and some wood in it. So we immediately went there as our first spot, kind of. And it was we were really targeting 12 to 14 foot of water, that little hole we found. And then oh, good.
The rods that caught the fish were casted over to the side in the shallower stuff.
Yeah.
And now this hole in this area was probably surrounded by 3 foot of water, 4 foot of water.
Yeah. For
quite a ways. But
so it's kind of a morning bite. So what you were using, big baits, what size hooks, and then you so there wasn't enough current where you could kind of fan out.
Yeah,
so you could be in some deep, you could be in some of that 3 foot.
Yep. No, we could spread baits just fine, and they were holding just fine out there. And we had couple really big baits out, and just the 4 baits were just your average size. I don't know what average is down there. Maybe 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches.
Yeah, probably just
cut bait,
chunks of skipjack.
Now we were running mainly 8, 10 odd hooks.
I had all 10 odd hooks on Gamakatsus, and some of the hooks that you sold earlier in the year too. I was using
ripping lips.
Yeah, the ripping lips. Yeah, I was using some of them.
some big bait. Okay.
The one that caught the big fish was a 13-aught hook, though, with a giant headpiece, giant head bait. So big old skipjack head.
So when you ran skipjack, so again, there's wood kind of everywhere. The sun is out. What time would you say this is by now?
7:50, 8 a.m.
7:40 on the dot.
Oh,
So
yeah,
the sun
7:40 on the dot.
The sun's beating down pretty good because I remember the sun being out that morning. So maybe what do you think the water temp in the tributary was warmer or cooler than the main river?
It was just slightly warmer. It was about a half degree warmer is what I remember.
Yeah, 7:46.
Really what I was thinking is maybe there's some fish heading to that dam going back and forth feeding on the carp that are in there or whatever's in there. Really, we were just hoping to catch a couple little ones.
Yeah, we were just
We didn't think of this as a big fish spot by any means, but that's kind of how fishing goes. You got to try everything. You got to sometimes you got to go at your gut, and sometimes your gut will hurt you a little bit, I think.
Yeah, and then you guys, so talk a little about the boat you were in. We talked about your live well. Usually you guys have some kind of homemade live wells with some coolers, and again, you always guys take very good care of your fish. But we talked, obviously, this is different than up there. So you got a big tote and even had like a little cover that was made for it. And your fish were not happy. They were pumped up. And I remember because you guys, I think, were the second or third boat in line, and I waited to start the live feed. And I always like to make sure everybody's fish are doing okay before we get going. And I remember you pulled the cover up, and then that one, and it's a big live well that you got in there. So I didn't know. You guys were happy, but you weren't like too happy. And then I seen a big tail slap, and I'm like, they got a good fish, but I didn't know what else you had.
Right.
So, and then in your eye, I remember talking to you guys after you weighed and after the tournament, you're like, we didn't even know if that's going to be top 10.
Right.
And you don't know down there. I mean, that's what's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were kind of saying the whole day because we had our 3 fish that we weighed, and we had by 8 a.m. probably 8:10. We kept saying
so what happened after that? I mean, did you stay in that area? Did you move around?
We moved around a little, but we mainly worked that area. But we kept thinking we needed at least one more 40-plus pounder to even compete.
Yeah.
And we kept saying it to each other. We need one more 40-plus to even. Yeah.
Yeah, we stayed in that same water pretty much until probably noon to 1 p.m. We kind of started fishing more deeper water. And then we kind of caught
a few little ones.
Yeah, caught a few little ones. Caught a 13-pound blue.
So you caught your 3 fish that you weighed, you caught between 740 and 810?
It was back to back to back, really.
Yeah. Well, he caught the first fish. It was the 39 or 40 pounder. He was setting up the live well, getting all the aerators hooked up, filling it with water with he had a bilge pump to put water in the live well.
But as I'm putting that fish in the live well, my other rod, it just caved over with that big skipjack head on it. And he was on it. He grabs the rod right away and starts fighting that bigger fish.
Mm-hmm.
And timing worked out just right.
Yep.
I stepped over, grabbed the net, and it was there. It really didn't put up a big fight.
No, it was a slug. Yeah, it really. I mean, it was probably in the boat within a couple, 3-4 minutes. It really didn't fight.
So were you shocked when you seen how big it was compared to how it fought?
Oh, it was.
Didn't want to fit in the net.
Yeah, it was halfway sticking out of the net.
Yeah.
I mean,
when that head came up, I knew we had something pretty special. I knew he had his biggest fish.
Right.
So then that fish gets put in, and then how much longer until that third one hits?
I was thinking about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Roughly. It's hard to say because we had adrenaline going. We were excited at that time.
Yeah. Yep.
But were they all, could you tell, was it all on the same side or was it one over here?
It was all on the left side.
It was all in that shallower, sandy. It was sand, mud, but mainly sand.
Yeah, because the right side of the bank was all cut out, all deep water. And the left side was like a sandy, flatter area. and they all came from the shallow, sandy side.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yep. Didn't even come from
So
the
then
water.
how many did you catch all day?
7.
7 catfish.
7.
Yep, 7 catfish and probably 4 or 5 gar. I got on video 1 gar that was about 5 feet long that we got to the boat and had to cut off. We thought it was
Are you
another
shocked you
big
didn't catch any
flat.
flatheads?
I'm sorry?
Are you shocked you didn't catch any flatheads?
Yeah, we were upset.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were.
Well, that's what we were fishing for when we caught those 3 blues. We were fishing for flathead, and the water we were targeting for flathead didn't produce a single fish. And we threw different baits in there, so we figured we'd pull something out, but no. It worked out anyway, I guess.
Yeah.
So you come into the weigh-in. You had to put your chip in the bucket. You come in, get in the weigh-in. Are you second or third boat? I can't remember.
We were the 3rd boat.
Third boat. Okay.
Yep.
So
I think we were the first team to put our chip in the bucket, though. I think we were the first team to pull out.
once I can't remember who the first boat was, but you guys came up, and then it was like the first 3 kept knocking each other out. So then now you guys can, because the way we had guys put the fish back in the river, so we had the tanks there, and then you go park immediately, and then you can come sit in the hot seats. And I've done that a few times. That is a lot of stress, especially at the championship. The way that the hot seats are literally right there. I mean, you're 5 feet looking down in the live well, every boat that pulls up, and you got everybody else to weigh. So what kind of talk about the stress of not knowing, maybe even thinking, 100, what we have might not even be in the top 10. I mean, every single boat had to be stressful, and, you're fishing against some of the best in the country. I mean, it's the best of the best. How did that go? Like, did you guys think there's no way we're going to sit here all day?
That's exactly what I thought. The first couple boats, I was like, all right, this is pretty damn cool. We're on the live stream. I got probably 10 different people at home watching right now. This is pretty cool. Let's see how long this will go. And then once the second place team rolled up, that was Kevin Hoffman and Mitchell. They kind of told us while we were waiting in line that they also had some big fish. So when they rolled up, my heart was beating. I was scared. Yeah,
because I can always tell when I'm looking at the weigh-in line. Like sometimes they get a buddy to drive the truck for them. That's always scary. Then if you see them with gloves on, like 4 boats back, there's always kind of that tall tale of these guys gonna have some good fish. And then it's tough because a lot of times you see so many people post on Facebook, I caught this 50 or this 70, and people think fish are so much bigger. I think that when you see them actually in person, but they had some good fish. What did you think when they got those fish out? Did you think they got it, or this is going to be really fun?
3 or 4 times.
Yeah. I thought the fish look a lot bigger when you're in the hot seat. I mean, that's the truth 100%.
Seeing them come out was a lot. Yeah, I thought we were beat 3 or 4 times sitting up there.
Right.
Yeah, I was waiting to hear
what
the scale was.
But then I got towards the middle. I got kind of good at looking. Okay, I'm not looking at their big fish. I'm looking at their smallest fish, their second and third fish, and that's how I could kind of gauge. Okay, he's got maybe 90 pounds. Based off
because there was a lot of I would say 30 to 44 pound fish.
There was
a lot of upper 30s. I think we weighed several 39s. But again, it goes back to that second and third fish, and then a couple teams had 2 really good fish, and then their third fish was maybe 10, 15, 18 pounds. And that's, you can have a 50, but if you don't have something decent to go with it, it's hard to break that 100-pounder, especially in a 3-fish limit.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're sitting up there, and you finally make it through. You had to take a polygraph. Was that your first polygraph you had to take?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was interesting. Definitely a good experience and a good guy doing it. That's for sure.
Yeah. So what was people saying back home? Like, were you texting anybody that are saying, "Oh my gosh, you guys are still in the hot seats," or?
Yeah. So I had So my girlfriend, she's got 9 siblings. So she had all 9 of her siblings watching, her parents watching. She had all of her cousins watching. We got a group chat for just, the siblings and like cousins. There's like 20 people in it, and they're all freaking out in the group chat saying, "Oh my God, Brennen's live. He's on TV. He's still on stage, just going crazy."
And it had to be nerve-wracking because I think we only didn't weigh 2 boats.
Yeah.
So we weighed, there was 20, with the 50 anglers that got invited, Doug Rice is the only one that didn't come. Everybody else came, had a partner. There was 27 teams there. It weighed 25.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it ain't like it was a quick weigh-in because you guys had to almost watch every boat weigh in.
Right.
We just came in early because we were worried about travel. We weren't sure what was going to happen, so we wanted to have the extra time. We knew we'd be all right, but there was a chance we might want to pull off a little to the side, and spend 10, 15 minutes letting something dissipate before we continued on. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because some of those barges going upstream, they're making some just massive, massive rollers.
Fighting that current. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, to respect the water out there.
Yep.
Yeah. So again, your boat, I mean, it's something, did you kind of know, like when you get that far south, the barges are bigger? I mean, I don't know if you guys seen some big ones, but I mean, it's nothing like what we have up here.
Right.
Some of them, they're like, I don't know for sure. They're 6, 7 wide, 13 long, triple engine tugs. I mean, they are pushing some serious water, and that's something you don't see until you go down south.
So we've heard about it and we were told about it, but we never seen it until we went.
Yeah.
And we seen it in Alton a little bit, but beyond that, no, it was kind of a new experience to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I've seen some cargo freighters up in Detroit while walleye fishing, but I mean, I would say these barges were even, making bigger weights than those cargo ships in the Detroit River,
Yeah. So what do you guys think? What's your take now on the lower Mississippi River?
It's awesome. There's so much water down there to fish. I mean, there's so much good areas. I mean,
we thought we could spend a month down there in Helena just messing around.
Right.
And that's what's crazy. And even though that the boat ramps are, so with the water level, you didn't have a lot of options to go pre-fish. You really, besides the Helena boat ramp, you could maybe go to Memphis, which is a long ways up. Tunica, I think, silted in. Rosedale's out. Yeah. Arkansas City's out. But, these places I'm talking about are long ways from each other. So, I mean, if you go south, besides maybe a few back ramps that that are tough to get to, you got to go almost 2.5 hours to the next ramp. Oh, or if you go upriver, you might have to go 1.5 hours to the next ramp, like to Memphis. So thinking about that, I mean, that just shows you, like, when you get far south, there's not a lot of options for ramps. And I think, again, there's so much water down there, just like you said, that, I mean, there's a lot of untapped water.
Right.
I'll bet you there's some hidden gems out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that, the tournament, if we always talk about fronts and weather and, did that affect the fish, or the fish would have been better? I definitely think that we didn't see the highest potential. I think that it's hard to say it was a bad day because we only had one team over 100 pounds, but almost everybody caught. I think even the guys that didn't weigh fish caught fish. So, I mean, you take every team catching fish, that's a good day of fishing. We might not have seen giants, but I mean, anything over 40 pounds is a good fish.
Right. No, it was still a very, very competitive tournament. A lot of very close weights. A lot of, I mean, second through fifth was like 98 to 94 or 92, something like that. It was very close.
I gotta pull that up just because
I'm sure there's some monsters down there. I'll bet you there's some really nice catfish that didn't get caught that day.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think future wise? Is there a place you want to go back and say, man, I got to go back. I got to fish Helena, or I want to go further south, or I want to fish Alton. Like what's on your minds now after doing what you did in Helena?
I think definitely Alton, with where the Missouri River, connects into the Mississippi. That's a very, very interesting area.
And that the last 3 Alton tournaments that we've held, in 12 months, each one had a fish over 100 pounds.
Right.
And that's what's crazy. You have all these tournaments on the lower Mississippi River, MRM, and you rarely see 100-pound fish. But for whatever reason, every 100-pound fish I've weighed in 10 years, which is 4, they've all came from that Alton area.
Yep.
Whether it's the Missouri, I think 3 on the Missouri, 1 on the Mississippi on the confluence, but all in that stretch. I don't know what it is, but it's
Special.
I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna try to catch one this fall down there.
Yeah.
So yeah, so back to the weigh-in. You guys had pulling it up because you're right. I didn't realize how close. I mean, I don't know that it came down to ounces, but it came down. Okay, yeah. So you guys had 53.12 big fish, 110.89. Actually, I'm going to see if I can share this. Yeah, you guys had 53.12, 110.89 in big fish. That's you guys pulling out of your big live well. You guys, like I said, you guys did an awesome job keeping those fish good and healthy.
Yep.
There's a head on that thing. Tom got some really good pictures.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those fish are giants, man. I mean, look at the tail.
That's
right. Very long. I mean, that fish could have been, if it was that 53-pounder was fat, he could have been 60.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
easy.
He was a skinny male. I mean,
huge.
yeah.
That's probably your biggest winnings, $10,500 in a tournament.
Yep.
By a landslide. Yep.
Yeah, so second place, Kevin and Jackson, and they had 98.30. And then JT 97.51. So that was super close.
Yep.
Wow.
0.8. Right.
I mean, super close, 98.30 to 97.5. And then down to fourth place. And here's what's cool about this. You're taking this team from, I'm going to say Northern Illinois, just because you're north of me. Then you got Kevin, Northern Illinois, Jackson, Alabama. Then you got JT. I don't know why I think you're not in Arkansas, but Arkansas, Oklahoma. I mean, the far west side. These guys getting third place. Then you got these. This is a crew right here. You got the captain. All these are originally from Iowa. Now Randy lives in Alabama. Josh is moving to Alabama, and then Mark Ford's in Iowa. These guys come down. I got to talk to them on how they were fishing, but 95.55. So again, from second, third, and fourth are some real. You're talking one different fish changes all that.
Right.
But again, you look at this and you see you got Mark's got a good fish.
Mm-hmm.
Josh got a good fish. They replaced this fish, the fish that Randy's holding right here.
Right.
They replace that fish and things change.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it's about. And then you got Team Dragon Master 93.77. So I mean, there was a lot of in the 90s, and then it drops down. So after fifth place, it goes down to 82.04, 76.75, 74.64. And again, here's another team from Iowa. The furthest south they've been on the Mississippi River is Fort Madison. So, I mean, it's cool if you look at the top 10, where these anglers are from, what they've done in the past, how they've made it to where they're at. So, husband and wife team, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then, which I got to fish with Dylan Sunday. Dylan, Bo, and Tyson, 69.89, or 69.98. So a lot of close weights, 68.33.
Yeah.
But again, we always talk about, you look at the middle fish here, and then you look at the one Monty's holding, which Monty's used to holding some smaller fish. If you're on here with me, I love you. I'm just kidding, Monty. But replacing, even in this bag right here, replacing Monty's fish, gaining another 10, 12 pounds, that takes you up quick, and that's a part of it. That's what's fun about the tournament stuff.
Right.
Oh, Monty, come on. I love you. So yeah, super cool. Really interesting weigh-in, just like Washita last year that was in Arkansas. Obviously, that was Channel Cat. The Blue Cats didn't bite, which I'm going to go find out if the Blue Cats do bite. And then while I'm on here, here's the 2024 Angler of the Year. I photoshopped him some Ric Flair hair right there, wearing a belt. And then I put a little good vibes on his coffee mug there. He's always got some good vibes. And then while I'm on here again, you guys can see Lake Ray Hubbard. We added last Tuesday. Lake Ray Hubbard, Texas, Alton, Illinois, Fort Smith, Arkansas, Fort Madison, Iowa, Pekin, Illinois, Perryville, Missouri. So if you see the city, state, and the date on the bottom, again, you follow those, and that is going to be, Pekin, Illinois here. You click that. It's going to take you to the event. Go to the discussion. All the stuff you're going to need to know is here, from hotel stuff, all that. Here's a little info about the event right there. And then we'll be getting more of those events up here really soon. So again, we got the first half of the year pretty much up, and we'll have some more available hopefully this week. Actually should finalize 2 more events tomorrow, and then have the whole schedule up. Each going to have their own rules. Working on the new website. So a lot of things going on after the 10th year of Twisted Cat. So what do you guys have plans for next year? Now you get a little relaxed a little bit. There's not too much fishing. You guys don't fish in the fall, really?
We do. He does a lot more than I do in the fall.
I'll start messing around with saugers here soon.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to fish next year, probably similar to what we did this year. We might, I think we're looking at a bigger boat possibly.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah. Depending how many close events there are, within like the 3 to 4 hour range, probably.
Yeah. You might need a bigger trophy cabinet.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. I know I don't have a place to put the trophy yet.
Because you guys have, like I said, you've collected some plaques with me, and now these big trophies and that big check. What do you think of that? Check's pretty cool. I see you got it back there with all the names of the people that you fished against. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, I want to show off all the people signing it. That's probably the best part, honestly. Everybody signing it. All the
and like there's some really. I mean, you take a John Jameson that's been in this sport for a long time, and he signed it. I mean, that's. Right. I'd almost rather have that side displayed than the other side.
Just such Bill Dance wasn't there.
I know.
When I thought
he did
the Tennessee tournament,
he actually won our tournament in Savannah.
Yeah, that was crazy to see.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that Bill Dance is fishing for catfish, and if somebody would have said, "Hey, Bill Dance is going to fish quite a few of your tournaments," and 5 years from now, let's say that's crazy,
right?
But so you're looking at maybe a bigger boat. You're looking at kind of doing some traveling. So I went out. Do you know Dylan Lawson?
We've talked to him just a couple times. Yeah. Yep. Met him at the tournaments, but
I get to go out with quite a few anglers. So he messaged me after a podcast last week. Actually, he said, "Hey, let's go fishing next weekend or next Sunday." I said, "Deal." And then Nate Moore came. So we put in Fort Madison. But we were talking about, since you guys are in Northern Illinois, we were put into Fort Madison, which is still north.
Mm-hmm.
And we said, you don't see a lot of people fishing for channel cat in the cold water, especially like in the winter. So what we ran into on Sunday is people that were duck hunting. So I don't know if you guys get that on the river. Oh my. Like I felt like we got close to some blinds and I didn't know if people were in the blinds. So we stayed far away, but anyways, water temp was 52 to 56. I wanted to share this with you guys and see what your thoughts are, because I have not really went after channel cat, especially this time of year. I really just started targeting them last year in that pool, because usually I'm blues and south. But it was interesting. It was rough. When I say rough, like the roughest I maybe ever been on. And we went north. We knew south there was duck blinds in some of the spots. So we went up north. We found some shallow flats. The wind was terrible. We tried doing some dragging. We, dropped the power poles, fanned out, caught some fish, a lot of bites, which is no really hard takedowns, but a lot of bites. Sun was out, then the clouds would come in again. But then we caught like, I don't know, 12-pounder in 2 foot of water.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And finally, end of the day, we made a move. Clouds came back. There was a spot below a tributary that had like 10 to 16 foot of water. But there was the water's really low, and there's a ton of wood on this bank. But also, it was a break from the wind because the wind was killing us. I mean, our faces were wind burnt. It's like we couldn't get out of the wind for nothing. It just was like annoying to even have conversations. So we went there and we just spot locked, put the trolling motor in, spot locked. There was wood. We were probably going to get hung up, and at this point, it's like 52.8 is the water temp. Wow. So Dylan brought some frozen moon eye, which I absolutely hate because it just gets so mushy, but it worked. And then we had some fresh shad because we threw the cast net in the morning in a marina and caught some shad, caught a ton of bluegill, which we had to throw back because they're not legal in a cast net. And then I think we caught a walleye and a ton of like 6 to 8 inch gar, spotted gar, crazy. But we had probably 20 fresh shad, threw them in the live well, went fishing. But at the end of the day, it's beautiful. We got a wind block. We're up on the bank, and we fish a spot. We catch maybe 2 fish. And it doesn't matter if it's more off the ledge or up towards the bank, but big fish. I mean, 2 in the, I would say, low teens, and then 110, maybe one smaller fish. But we were just bouncing down. So we'd spot lock, 5-10 minutes, catch a good one, maybe a few other little bites. And then we'd reel in, go back, drop down 20, 30 yards, do the same thing, catch another big one. A few little weird bites. It was almost like the big fish, and I don't know if it's a water temp, but the way they were biting is they weren't slamming it. So you could almost, like, seems like there was a lot of big fish there, but you couldn't tell how they were biting. But the ones we were catching were really quality. And then we would just bump down again, do the same thing. And it was crazy. Like every time we'd bump down in that first 5 or 10 minutes, catch a big fish, which anything over 10 pounds in a channel cat is a giant.
It's a good
and
Oh yeah, definitely.
So if I wish we would have kept our top 5 and weighed them, but I would have said we'd have mid 50s, and that's the beginning of November at 52-degree water temp in pool 19. That's incredible. So what is it like? Do you guys see it like that on the Illinois? I mean, do you like the cold water? Why are we catching some shallow and then deep, or just we're catching them everywhere? Is that just normal?
Yeah, I have experienced that on the Illinois River. I would think they're deep, but I was proven wrong a few years ago, and since then I've had to try it when the water gets like this. And I always think it's 65 to 55 is what I say. And I caught a flathead, and the water was, I think it was 51 degrees.
Yeah, it was cold.
On a live bait in about 3 foot of water. I think that was last year.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the fishes kind of start piling up a lot more when that water gets in the low 50s too.
But I think some move. I think in general, the fish are going to follow a pattern, but you're going to have anomalies within that pattern, and you're going to have outliers within that pattern. So
yeah.
And that's what's interesting is, like, you always hear springtime channel cats, super shallow water. And then you always kind of hear, like, the colder it gets, they start getting into deep holes. I'm going to put it to the test because, like, I had so much fun. Like, I'm ready to go back tomorrow and start fishing because that water temp, like I said, is going to continue dropping, going to be in the 40s. What are those fish going to go deep? I think that I can catch them shallow.
So Fox River tournament last year, I think the water was 37 degrees. We thought fish deep. We fished the deepest water in that river. All our fish came from 4 foot of water or less. And I had baits in 17 foot of water. And I think we caught 30 to 40 fish that year in 4 foot of water or less, 37-degree water.
And what do you think about dragging?
Well, we haven't done it enough. I don't mind dragging, but
yeah, I've never done it. He's only done it
a handful of times.
Yeah. So we really haven't had enough time to experiment with that yet.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, this is a question I need a good answer.
Okay.
So me, Nate, and Dylan were talking yesterday. The norm when you talk about bait, whether it's blue cat or channel cat, and times a year, like if it's blue cat in the spring or cold winter months, it's got to be shad. You can't catch them on skipjack, can't catch them on anything else. So my plan is I hate using shad guts.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to have shad guts in the winter? Can you catch them on?
We don't really even like using shad guts.
Yeah.
We like the smaller 3 to 5 inch shad and using them basically whole, maybe cutting their tail off.
When the water gets ice cold, I just downsize the baits a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll use what's readily available.
Yeah.
I can still get shad pretty much throughout the winter, so that's probably what I'm using. But I'm never using the guts.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people that swear by them, but we don't use shad guts at all.
Yeah, I've never used shad guts. I don't like it.
Yeah.
And usually we can't get shad big enough to use their guts, but yeah, I mean, especially with cold water, I like creek chubs a lot better.
Yep.
Creek chubs work fantastic. They're probably one of the best baits. 4 channels and blues.
I got a real good buddy that has them like readily available.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we got a couple creeks a mile away from our house that we can get 50 in 10 minutes, you know.
Yeah, my plan is I would just ask him to get me 50 ready and I go pick them up, but we'll see. Like I said, I really plan on, which you guys have to come down sometime and jump in the boat and we'll go chase some in Pool 19. But
Sounds good.
Pool 19 has been something special the last year or two, and especially after Burlington, I'm excited to go there and to Fort Madison in May and see how that goes. I think that's going to be an awesome event. But what's just unique now is I think that we're starting to understand that so much talk and social media and articles you read about channel cats is you got to use shad guts in the winter. You got to do this. They're not shallow, they're deep. And I think all that is kind of getting thrown out the window.
Yeah. Cut bluegill is a fantastic bait too for channels.
As far as winter fishing goes, they seem to pile up so much that I don't think bait really matters that much. And I have, you get a nice warm sunny day, really, really hard sun, they'll move up shallow. You can catch them real shallow. If you get a couple of days of that, especially, yeah, they'll still move. They move a lot more than people give them granted for. At least channels and blues, I'm not too sure on the flatheads. But I know guys catch them in our river sauger fishing when the water's cold, and they're catching them in the mouth. I don't know if they're flossing them, but it seems like they're eating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. Well, Scott Rupert, don't hate me, but he loves using bluegill, and I know I was just with him a week or 2 weeks ago, and that's what he was using. And like I said, I think as long as you got good quality bait, but it's just funny. You hear that typical, you got to have shad guts. And I tell you what, I don't know if you remember 2 years ago, it was almost impossible. It was like drugs. I mean, to get shad guts, it was a crazy price. I mean, $20-25 a jar, maybe more than that. I don't even know if you could get it. So we will see. I'm going to put it to the test and see if I can catch some fish. And I don't even know how low the water temp will get. I know it will ice up there, probably sooner rather than later. But I'm going to keep going at it and kind of seeing. And I'm going to write things down. I'm going to start a journal. I've been saying this for 20 years. I'm going to start a journal and get that stuff wrote down. That this past Sunday, water temp, weather, wind, which the wind sucks. The wind was terrible, and that made it, I think, a lot tougher. But that's what was just unique is that we caught fish literally every place we stopped. We caught a fish. Every place.
Yeah, that's great.
It's a good time.
And it didn't, I mean, whether it's 3 or 4 foot of sand, 3 foot of mud, 2 foot of mud, 20 foot of mud, it didn't matter. We caught a fish.
That's a good day.
Yeah, that's a great day. Yeah.
And Nate, if you're watching, he didn't throw any of my rods in the water. Almost did, but he didn't. He did backlash one time, I think. But I was just the boat guy and the camera guy. I didn't even get to catch any fish, I don't think. I guess I netted a few, but Jason Massengale. It's crazy. Do you guys know who Jason Massengale is?
I've heard of him. Don't really know him, no.
So he's won 2 major events. He's won 119,000
Oh, wow.
in 2 tournaments.
Wow.
So he's from Arkansas. I mean, he's one of the best when it comes to blue cats. He's asking, what's your favorite hook and rod in cold water?
Like a tender rod in cold water. We use spinning reels still, so I like the Catfish Sumo rods really for a tender. They really chopstick. And
so why spinning?
You know, it's what we've grown up on. We grew up with spinning. You know, it was kind of always the easiest to use. And then we mainly fish for channels. So, I mean, you don't need super heavy tackle. You don't need the heavy casting reels, you know, for channels. And I just feel like it's easier to handle fish with a spinning rod, especially when you get a big one close to the boat. You know, it's easier to control, easier to, you know, come in.
So did you have to change much of your gear going to Helena?
No.
We had heavier rods. We've got rods for pulling flatheads out of timber. We've got spinning reels made for shark fishing.
Yeah.
So you got some giant stuff.
But we do both have a bumping rod with a bait caster reel. You know, when it makes sense, it makes sense. You got to have a bait caster for a bumping rod, in my opinion. But as far as like an anchor rod or even a dragging rod, I don't think you absolutely need to have a casting reel.
Yeah, I know Nate Blint and Scott both had, when I went with them 2 weeks ago, they were using these giant spinning reels.
Yeah.
Giant.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, we like the Okuma bait feeder reels too. Those are really nice, like the 6,000 series.
What about hook? Do you downsize your hook? Do you go? So you talked about you downsize your bait. You're using small hook, small bait. What about line? Do you think line affects anything? Like,
Definitely.
I don't really think so. He does. I still catch him.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I hate braid, so I absolutely despise braid. I only like using mono on a lot of my stuff. I'll use braid on my bumping rod. Hate it the whole time. Just can't stand braid.
so why is that? Because I'm the other way. I hate mono.
Really, it gets
Absolutely.
tangled so easily. I
think we rely on the stretch in the mono when we're fighting the fish with the heavier rods, really.
Yeah, you get a lot less fish that pull the hook because you have that stretch with the mono. As to where if you have if your drag is inside with braid, that fish is gonna pop the hook a lot easier than what mono, where you have that give with the stretch.
If I'm fishing ice cold water, though, I might be throwing out a bass rod with some braid on it. You know.
What about sinker slides and stuff like that? If they're finicky biting, what about? I mean, do you want a sinker slide so they don't feel that? Like, what's your go-to there? What's your thoughts?
So we primarily use no-roll sinkers.
Carolina rigs.
With Carolina rigs, yeah. So they already don't feel anything.
We use some sinker slides, but for the most part, we'd rather just cut the knot and tie on a new sinker.
Yeah.
Really don't have a rhyme or reason for it, but
yeah.
So how long is your leader then? Because your sinker just goes to your swivel, your two-way.
Yep.
So you got your main line, and then you got do you have it like any little bump stop for your?
Sometimes.
Yeah, I put rubber beads on between my sinker and swivel.
And then you go. How do you vary your length on whether you're anchoring or different times a year?
It does kind of depend on current.
Mainly current.
Yeah.
Mainly current, and if live bait or cut bait.
Yeah.
And depending on what kind of live bait in the area you're in, I suppose.
Yeah, and then I like to put some form of float on the end of by my hook, to suspend the bait up a little bit, because we're used to having not a lot of current right now in the Illinois River. So I'm used to having that couple floats on the end.
And then how long would you say what's your typical leader? I mean,
Arm
6
length.
inches, 26 inches.
12 to 18 inches probably. Yeah.
So that's a kind of a lot of work then. If you're going to go, let's say that you're going to go this weekend fishing, maybe there's a little bit of current. You're going to have to cut lines and retie just depending on your weights.
Yeah,
that's a lot of work.
We do a lot of line cutting, a lot of re-rigging.
Why do you think do you think that is a better rig than a sinker slide?
I don't have anything against the sinker slide. No, I don't. I really don't have a rhyme or reason for it personally.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of what we're used to, what we kind of grew up using.
I don't mind tying that one knot, I guess.
Yeah,
because I'll cut the swivel right above the swivel, and if the leader's still good and the hook point's still good, I'll keep that leader, hook, swivel all together and just cut the one knot and retie it real quick. But I was running some sinker slides there in Helena on a couple rods.
Mm-hmm.
What about, do you guys switch lines from channel cat to blue cat, or using 80 pound, 60 pound, 30 pound?
I did. So for like channel cats, I like using 20 or 25 pound test.
Mainline.
For mainline. For this tournament specifically, I switched everything to 40 pound mono.
Oh my gosh, that scares me to death. You caught those fish on 40 pound mono?
Oh yeah.
Well, your rod had less.
Yeah, those fish were caught on 35 pound mono.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But see,
everybody hearing that in the chat.
But I got
that scares me to death.
60 pound leader. I run a way heavier leader than I do a mainline.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of mono, is you have that stretch. Sure, it's rated for 35, but and you got the tension from being in the water. You can easily haul in 100-pound fish with it, assuming no,
if you don't take off.
I know, but I'm just saying, just let's think out loud. Let's say that you get a 105 on and you ran up into some wood. That's devastating.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, now you're going to hate this. I don't really stick to my stuff. So I'm running 80 pound in Helena and I'm running 80 pound in Fort Madison.
But with braid, I think that's fine, really.
True.
Yeah, braid.
But I'm also running 80 pound mono.
Sure.
In Fort Madison,
which
is overkill.
But
it is kind of hard for us to run higher mono, though, because you can't fit that much line on a reel.
Yeah, that's true.
60, 80 pound mono, that's some thick stuff. It's hard to fit that on a reel.
True. Yeah, I did. I guess I did. I'm using medium light rods, and then I got like some Cast King Rovers. So I've got some real small gear, and then I think I did jump it down to maybe 65 pound braid, and then maybe some 30 pound mono. But like I said, we were fishing some stuff. I know Dylan, I don't know if he actually broke off or not, but we were in some pretty nasty wood. I was kind of thinking that maybe we get a flathead, and maybe some of them were flathead bites we were getting, but 52-degree water right up on the bank and some deeper wood. I thought, man, maybe we get a flathead bite. But those channels, I mean, the big ones that we did catch just destroyed it. They might have been a little bit here, and then they just absolutely destroyed it.
Hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And I love blue cat fishing, but man, it's the channel cat have been so good. Aaron Gerald's I think he got second in Burlington, and I know he had fun dragging. He made those faces in chat because of probably the mono poundage you guys were using.
Yeah. Yep.
We've caught big flatheads and heavy structure on 30, 35 pound mono mainline. I feel confident in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like that's what we always talk about on the show is as long as you're confident in the gear you're using, you know what I mean? That's what matters. If you got to use 100-pound braid, use 100-pound braid. If you're confident with 30-pound or 35-pound mono, then you're good.
Right. Yeah. Haven't had it kick us yet, so I mean, it's treated us very well the past 3-4 years. So I mean, maybe we'll find out now they're fishing more of these bigger blue cat, tournaments. But
yeah, that's what Aaron said. I'm not changing my line for up there when I fish pool 19 with a 100-pound braid.
I don't think the
But
catfish are
that,
designed.
when you get that hung up real bad, that's rough to get out.
Yeah.
I'm glad I learned that on the bait. So I will have to let you guys have to come down sometime when it gets cold and we'll chase some channel cats.
Sounds good.
What about Moon Eye?
I like Moon
Do you guys use Moon Eye? Will you use it frozen?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I like Gold Eye.
Everybody keeps telling me that. I hate frozen Moon Eye. It's like it's like gum.
Always fresh over frozen, but if we have to, we'll use it. We're not happy about using it, and we'd rather frozen skipjack. But
yeah,
I've
well, after using frozen. Dylan, how old was that frozen Moon Eye that you brought Sunday? After using it, I'm hooked. I mean, I'll start vacuum sealing Moon Eye now.
Oh, if we can get it, we'll keep it because it works. But
yeah, we hate freezing bait though. The only thing we really freeze is skipjack or Moon Eye or Gold Eye. But even then, we don't like to keep it more than maybe a month. It's
still try to get fresh the night before.
We never freeze shad. We hate freezing shad.
Why do you say that? I'd rather freeze shad than Moon Eye.
I think it's because we can get shad so easy.
Yeah, we can. I mean, we're both very young and able. We can throw a cast net 200 times in a day, and get shad pretty,
A lot of areas nearby where there's shad.
Yeah.
What is your guys' take on shad getting like right now? I think that there's something going on. The shad are not where they should be. They're not at the hot water. I don't know if they're deep, if they're spawning. Something's going on. What's your thoughts on that this time of year?
Well, I'm kind of at a loss too because our river's been messed up, really low current all year. I would like to think they're in that 10 to 12 foot. Just the sand areas just kind of running back and forth, but I don't know. I haven't spent much time looking for them on the depth finder. Where I'm finding them now is trapped in backwaters in areas that have been landlocked all year, really.
Yeah, that's where we found our shad in Arkansas within some of those landlocked dikes.
Yeah.
That's primarily where we got most of our shad.
Were they big down there or small or?
Small.
They were biggest like 6 inches maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Dylan's talking about if I was going to go bluegill fishing, I got a spot that'll change your life. I mean, we would catch multiple. I don't know how many different species we caught in this marina, but we caught a ton. We did catch a giant. I hate them absolute giant shad.
I don't like them either. I always like letting them go. Just let them reproduce. I don't know.
So, do you think that they're? I mean, how many times do you think they spawn a year, shad?
Probably 3 or 4.
That's what I was going to say.
Probably
I really
4.
don't know. I haven't done much research on it, but
just from us cast netting, though, I mean, we'll get baby shad in our cast net consistently throughout the year in our area. I mean,
yeah.
I think at least 4 times.
Aaron said, if I had to throw the net 5 times, I'm not happy.
Most days I'd agree, but there are times you got to struggle.
Yeah.
So what about if you could go anywhere you wanted to, it was a perfect time to fish it. Like, where is your destination that I got to go catch a catfish? Like, where is that at? If you could go tomorrow, get in your truck and go, where would you go?
I'd probably want to, I think it's the Red River up north, the big channels. I think so. I think that'd be interesting.
What's your guys' both PB channels?
So my scale was broken. My scale weighted at 17 pounds some, and then I took another scale and kind of dummy weighed it and tried figuring it out. I think my biggest channel is 13 and a half.
Mm-hmm. Mine's about, I think, 12 and a half. I think it's my biggest channel.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they'd be much bigger than that.
No, in the Illinois River, they really don't get bigger than, 12, 13 pounds. And we really just started experimenting with the Mississippi 2 years ago. So, I mean, we haven't had much time to fish huge blue cat water. Oh, you know what? Actually, no. I've caught
that one at that lake.
I caught a 20-some pound channel in Lake Powhatan.
Yeah.
Down in Pekin.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, I caught a massive channel in Powhatan.
That is I mean, anything. I've weighed some big channel cat, and I mean, I can't. I don't know that I've weighed anything over 20.
No, it was 20 or 21, I think.
It was a nice fish.
It was huge.
Yeah.
Well, just like Dylan, like I'm gonna tell you, like Dylan's saying, if you want to break your PB channel cat, you can go to pool 19 right now, because I think we had broke it 3 times yesterday.
Yeah.
Richard, you're super late, man. What's the deal? So you'd both go to the Red River?
I would. I don't know. What do you think, Brennan?
I would want to go where I can get just a massive flathead, you know. I would want my PB to be a flathead.
You don't have anywhere in mind, anywhere at all.
Probably back to the Missouri River, back down by Alton, you know.
Pre-fishing down there for Alton, we seen a guy on bank pull out 2 30-pounders. And I mean, that would have been late February, 30-pound flatheads.
Mm-hmm.
That blew my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, when them fish are, me and Nate Moore and Donald went there last fall just for a quick day trip, and I think the fish that Nate caught was Nate. I don't know if you're on here, but I think it was 67.
Oh wow!
2 fish. One was 67. One was in the 30s.
Yeah.
But again, Nate's like, let's do it. That's where I like. So I live. I can't say Southern Illinois, but I live right below Pool 19. But I'm not halfway in between the Missouri River and Pool 19. But the Missouri is probably, I'm going to say 2 hours and 45 minutes solid. I mean, not stopping to get there. But like, that is a really fun place to go. But like right now, the channel cats to me are just like, I want to go figure it out. I want to go, you know what I mean? I got to get I don't even know what my PB is. It's got to be somewhere in that 10 to 12 range, but there's got to be some giants in Pool 19.
Oh, I bet there is. I bet there's some monster channel cats. It's a special pool.
Yeah.
I mean, what we did in Burlington, I mean, the amount of fish we weighed over 10 pounds is unbelievable.
That was awesome. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think a big channel cat will fight harder than a blue cat double its size. You know, you get a 12, 14-pound channel will fight harder than, you know, a 20-some pound blue.
We haven't caught enough to really figure that out.
Yeah.
Blues, at least.
Well, that's interesting. Like I said, I'm excited. Every podcast, I always try to get a little bit of information, just one key thing that I can take. And right now, that's the shad guts. Like that has been a talk. Is you've got like if you don't use shad, even in May, like this May 4th tournament next year, I promise you, people are going to be freaking out about having shad guts May 4th. Like that, there will be people that are like they're gonna message me and they're gonna say, "Hey, who is selling shad guts?" They're gonna say you have to have shad guts or we can't fish.
Really? No, there's so many other great bait options. You absolutely don't need them.
Well, and we've really learned that this year. I mean, look at well, you guys were there when I asked what that one team, Kirk Lucky and Josh Adams. I said, show us the proof because nobody believes you. And they pulled 4 cartons of chicken out. 4.
A lot of chicken.
They were using chicken.
And all their fish came from chicken too, I think they said.
Yeah. His biggest fish is 94 pounds on chicken.
That's
94 pounds. So I'm going to even try chicken in this cold water for channel cat. I'm going to get my PB channel cat's going to come off chicken. Let's see. I don't know what you mean there, Aaron. Oh, a little smoky sausage. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of different baits to use. And it's just interesting, you know, as the sport grows, more and more people getting involved talking about different baits, different times of year, you know, especially with blue cats. And you guys are new to blue cats, but same thing goes, like you go down to the Missouri River from here until April. If you are using anything but shad, you're crazy. I mean, that is what you have to use. So that's just what what the norm is. And I think that now we're starting to break that norm.
I think so.
Ouch, Rich. You don't even watch the podcast. You jump on somebody else's podcast and then you come in and talking crap. Liz is going to have to catch it for me. Well, she did catch a lot of fish on chicken. I don't even know what some of these guys are talking about. They're talking about the Missouri, like Dylan said, the Missouri River makes them want to kick a kid at Kmart. The Missouri River is feast or famine. You can go there and have the best time of your life, and you can go there and not ever want to go back there again. But if you ever want to catch your PB, I mean, you guys live a few hours away from the Missouri, that is the place you're going to do it, especially on a blue cat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most people in the Midwest, their personal best has come from the Missouri River.
That's a pretty cool river.
Anything else you guys got to add or talk about? Jason Massengale, which I wish someday, hopefully he says something like this about me. He said, these guys are sharing very good info. Thank you guys. And awesome win at Helena. Look up Jason Massengale. He has been doing this long. I mean, Jason Massengale, in my opinion, is the Bill Dance in catfishing, as Bill Dance is the back. So for him to say this, you guys have no idea.
Awesome.
Cool.
No, that's awesome.
So anything else you guys got to add? Like I said, super congrats for the 2024 win. Like, that is so awesome. That's awesome. You got to check backwards, because I always make everybody write their sign on the back. That's pretty cool. You can't beat that. I mean, that's a memory that'll last a lifetime.
Oh, for sure.
You know, to win that against the people. And as you get more into the sport, you'll start to understand and learn and meet some of these people that you fished against and understand, like, I don't even think that you know right now how good some of these anglers you fished against are and how long they've been doing it. And that goes to show you, you guys are young and the sport's still young, and getting into it, like we talked about in the back before we got the show started, being positive, staying focused, having a good partner. Obviously, you guys, just like the Massengale brothers, when you have a good partner, you can work good together. That's everything. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
And sometimes you got to kick your dad out of the boat, I guess. I love your dad. He rolled up to Burlington and said, I'm here because I gotta beat the boys.
Yep. Oh, yeah. He's really competitive, too, which makes it fun. It's another layer to everything.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, I appreciate you guys being on. I can't believe it's almost 8:30 already. It's time just flies. But let's we'll keep in touch. Maybe we'll try to do a live show out in Fort Madison area this winter, chasing some channel cats and get together. But again, a huge congratulations. That's an awesome feat to do. Like I said, against some of the best. And I'm glad you guys got to weigh in early and have to stress the entire weigh-in. And I made it worse by giving you more of a hard time on the mic, but that was fun. So
apparently my face was beat red the whole time. So
I don't know how it couldn't be. I mean, like I said, I definitely didn't help things. And then the way that I set those smooth move seats, like I didn't even think about it. Like, I wanted them to be close. They are almost too close. And then I'm like, once I started seeing you guys, like, you guys had a view, like the best view you could have. Like, the second they opened their live well, you were like right there.
Yep.
I'm like, oh my gosh, these guys have a crazy show. That's got to be a little stressful. But no, that's awesome. Congrats. Super proud of you guys. And I hope we'll see you a bunch next year. And anything you ever need from me, reach out, and look forward to seeing you guys. And then hopefully maybe this winter we'll get out a little bit. And anybody have any questions, if you watch this podcast after between 7 and 8:25 Central Monday, these guys I'm sure will follow chat, answer your questions, reach out to them on social media. And again, congrats. And we'll see you soon on the water.
Thank you. Appreciate everything you do.
Yep.
Thank you guys. Everybody on chat, thanks for watching. Join us next Monday night with JT Ray, the 2024 Angler of the Year. And stay tuned this week as we get more events out and get the 2025 schedule finished up. Everybody have a great week. We're out.